Hi, boys and girls. How are you? This is Jenny from the Learning Center. I am back to read you chapter 3 of the Magic Tree Merlin Missions. Chapter 3 is Cave of the Spider Queen. And I don't know if you remember, we have read chapter 1 and 2. And it was left at that the water knight had taken them and left them they were like in the sea. So our adventure this week is gonna be Cave of the Spider Queen, chapter 3. We're gonna begin. I hope everybody's doing well. Let's start. So, Cave of the Spider Queen, chapter 3. Gentle waves ripped through the cove as Jack and Annie swung to the foot of the cliff. They pulled themselves onto the borders. Soaking wet, they sat for a moment in the warm sunlight and caught their breath. That was cool, said Annie. Yeah, but why? Jack gasped. Why did he dump us way out here? What do we do now? Check the rhymes, said Annie. What happens after we call for the help of the water knight? Jack reached into his pocket and pulled out the seashell. He read out loud, call for the help of the water knight, then pass through the cave of the Spider Queen. Oh, all right, said Annie. She took a deep breath. Spider Queen. Sorry, Jack said softly. But don't worry. Maybe the Spider Queen is just a person. Maybe Spider Queen is her nickname. But what if she's half a person and half a spider, said Annie. Like the Raven King was half a man and half a raven. Jack shuddered at the memory of the monster on their last Merlin mission. Don't think about it, he said. Time's running out. Let's just find the cave. Annie nodded and smiled bravely. Okay, you're right, she said, then stood up and started climbing barefooted around the craggy curves at the base of the cliff. As they rounded a corner, they both gasped. In front of them was the mouth of a cave. The mouth was covered with thick, sticky white ropes. The ropes were woven tightly together in a crisscross cobweb pattern. If that's a spider web, we're in big trouble, oh my, said Annie. Jack tried to sound calm. The size of the web doesn't actually tell us the size of the spider, he said. Plus, I once read that no spider on Earth is bigger than a dinner plate. Yeah, no horses on Earth has a giant fish tail either, said Annie. Good point, thought Jack. Let's just concentrate on finding the sword of light before night falls, he says. Jack picked up a stone the size of a softball. He hurled it toward the mouth of the cave. The stone sailed through the giant cobweb and into the cave, pulling the sticky rope-like strands down with it. Jack turned to Annie. Ready? He said. She didn't move. Jack took her hands. Don't worry. I won't let any monster spider get you, he said. He nodded towards the mouth of the cave. Onward! Look at the spider web. Isn't that big and awesome? Oh, wow. Onwards, Annie repeated in a small voice. Then together she and Jack stepped over the fallen webs and entered the cave of the Spider Queen. Inside the cave, the walls were black and shiny. The ground was wet and slippery under their bare feet. Yikes, Annie said, jumping back. A pale pink crab scuttled sideways across the rocky floor. Don't be afraid, said Jack. That's not a spider. I know, said Annie. Sorry. As they went deeper and deeper into the cave, it grew darker and darker. Finally, Jack saw a faint light coming from a wide arched passage. That way, he said. They stepped through the arch into the round chamber with the high ceilings. There were several large cracks in the ceilings that let in beams of sunlight. The mist light shine on mossy green ledges and on green spongy-looking floor. Silver droplets drip from above into tiny pools. Squeaking and chirpings came from crannies and hiding places in the wall. What's that noise? Asked Annie. Probably just a tiny cave cricket or a baby bat, said Jack. No, that noise, said Annie. The whispering noise. Jack listened. Then he heard it. A loud whisper. He couldn't make out the words. It just sounded like whisper, 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 whisper. The hair stood up on the back of his neck. Now he began to feel scared. This place is really creepy, said Annie. No kidding, said Jack. But we don't have to stay here long. The rhyme says we just have to pass through the cave. So let's hurry and pass through it. Jack and Annie walked through the ghostly green light of the chamber. The spongy floor squished beneath their bare feet. As they searched for an exit from the cave, they both kept an eye out for the spider queen. Hey, look at the starfish, said Annie. She pointed to a bright orange starfish clinging the rock ceiling. How'd he get up there? Before Jack could answer, a wave crashed into the chamber. Water splashed over Jack and Annie. Yikes, said Annie. She and Jack jumped up onto a mossy ledge jutting out from the wall. The wave washed back out. There was a moment of quiet. Then another wave surged into the chamber. It splashed against the cave walls, soaking Jack and Annie again. Oh man, said Jack. The tidal must be coming. Soon this whole cave will be flooded. The wave receded. For a moment, all was quiet again. Well, better leave now, said Jack. Quick, go back the way we came in. Jack and Annie jumped down from the ledge. But before they could escape, another wave crashed into the cave. This one swept them off their feet and pulled them down into a foamy water. Jack grabbed Annie's hand, fighting the swirling current. They climbed back up onto the mossy ledge. The water churned and gurgled around the chamber. We can't go back the way we came in, said Jack. The waves will just keep knocking us down, and we'll get caught in the current. Maybe we can get out through the cracks, cried Annie. She pointed to the wildest crack in the cave ceiling. It was high above the swirling water. It's too high, said Jack. We can't get up there. He looked frantically around the flooded cave, searching for another way out. Suddenly, he froze in horror. Clinging to the ledge near the ceiling crack was the Spider Queen. She had 8 red glowing eyes. She had 8 long hairy legs, and she was much bigger than a dinner plate. The Spider Queen was bigger than Jack.